If you're a cleaning business owner out there looking to take your operation to the next level, then this mastermind call is for you with my guy, Mike Wilkins. He breaks down his whole strategy on getting new clients, his delegation process, and he even got an email from a potential client during this call. So stay tuned to figure out his exact script. Let's get into the video. All right, man, my brother, Mike Wilkins, man. Good to have you back on here. We're going to get right into it, bro. One thing that I've been wanting to talk to you about pretty much, I got right here, business marketing strategies and client attraction, right? So what's been working for you right now? Like what's something that you can just give right out of the gate that's been one of your number one strategies to acquire clients right now?
Right. My number one strategy has been SEO. So as most of you know what that is, or if you don't, it's search engine optimization. So it all has to do with how well you're showing up in the search results when individuals are looking for your services. So I show up pretty well in my area in the top three, at least on the first page in other cities. So I've gotten a lot of calls off that. One con of that, I get a lot of residential calls. I don't do residential, I only do commercial. And also I get a lot of salespeople calling me, but I get a lot of traction, good leads off that. So the point I'm making is SEO helps me as a good marketing strategy, but you do have to be willing to live with, you're going to get some bad leads. So just because you're getting bad leads, like I said, I get some bad leads sometimes. Just as long as you're getting some good leads mixed in with it, no problem at all. So SEO has worked well for me.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So that's search engine optimization, and that's basically like Google.
Right.
You know,
Google as well as your website. The Google My Business is the most important. Most of the time, that's what people are looking for, that Google My Business profile. Yeah.
yeah, very important, man. So I'm hearing that you go after a certain specific niche. That's commercial. That's what's your niche that you go after most part, for the most part. And what are you, I guess, branding yourself to go after? Because you don't do residential. By the way, anybody that's in your area, where are you, by the way?
In the Mississippi area, Starkville,
Mississippi
Columbus.
area. Hey,
Right.
y'all in Mississippi area and y'all do residential. My guy got some leads. You may
Right.
end up getting some subcontractors from on the
Yeah.
residential side. But anyway,
Now,
so
somebody told me that, or they said, try to sell the leads to other residential companies. I thought about that. So that's a good point.
just a thought, man. If y'all in
Yeah.
Mississippi, hey, might hit them up. But
Right.
so
Right.
so you going after a certain specific niche. What are you going after right now? And what do you feel is the best for somebody that's looking to make a real profit in this particular business?
Right. One niche that we've found that we really, really like is equipment offices. So, for example, John Deere places, tractor places where they sell equipment or they work on certain heavy machinery. So we have a few of those. What I like about those is they're kind of underrated. We don't really think about those. Most time we're thinking about medical offices, doctors' offices. That's one that's kind of slept on. Now, the only thing about it is it's not as pristine and clean as a medical office. Sometimes it does get a little dirty, but I like it because overall it is still easy to maintain. So I got actually about a month or two ago, I got a call from my SEO strategies. I got a call from an equipment office wanting us to come in and clean it. So we gave them the quote 5 day a week cleaning. They ended up accepting it. And it's been going well so far. So I like that niche.
That's good, man. And I guess that considered like a warehouse, or is that you? So
Not
you said
exactly.
okay, equipment
So
office. So you clean the office and they build certain equipment. You said this is John Deere office, just the one,
right,
that
right.
one.
Well, they work on equipment like heavy machinery, tractors, lawnmowers. I don't think that would count as a warehouse. I think a
Okay,
warehouse is more factory related. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they
got you,
actually are building stuff.
got
I
you.
think I did
Okay,
say that. Wait a minute. Let me correct that. The equipment office, most times they don't build the machine, they work on them.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
And you guys, y'all take care of the front
The
office
office
and maybe the
part.
bathrooms.
Right, right, correct, correct.
Got it.
Not the actual where they working on the stuff because most they don't care if that's clean or not. The only part we do clean in that office where the machinery is the eye wash station where they wash out their eyes if they get anything in it. But we only, like you said, take care of the office part.
Got it. Got it. I know, man, you shared in a group one time that you do email marketing as well. Now, give us some golden nuggets, man, with these emails, because I believe you might have gotten one of those from an email too, right? How does that
Yes,
work?
yes.
When you're sending these emails out, what are you what are you saying to them? What are you trying to get what point across are you trying to get to them? And just what could you give somebody that's looking to do some email marketing right now?
That's a good question. So what I like to do, I used to try to get all fancy in my email. We're a hard-working cleaning company in the area. I'm 28 years old. I just started in 2023. We're looking to clean your business. We've been in business. I have a wife and two kids. The problem with that was it made the email too long. They don't care about that. And also, another thing that sometimes can happen, I was triggering a lot of spam posts. For example, I used to say, we're offering a 15% discount. But where do you think that email likely would go?
You're right.
Is
Spam,
it's going to the
sponsors.
spam. Right, right, right.
Yeah.
So what I do now, my subject line most times says cleaning services. And then in the body, hey, my name is Michael Wilkins, owner of Wilkins Refresh Cleaning Service. We are a cleaning company that services your area, your city, and we were seeing that you need any assistance in keeping your office clean. If so, feel free to let us know. The point is simplicity. I don't mention anything about a discount. I don't make the email too long. I keep it simple and short. So that most of the time keeps me in the primary folder. I don't get sent to spam. And it's a short email. They know what it's about. There's no question about what is this about, what he wants to do, what now. It's clear and to the point. So the tip is for you all to keep in mind, just keep it simple. Email is not the place to get fancy. You're going to trigger the spam folder or you could confuse the reader. Just make it clear I'm offering cleaning services. If they're interested, they'll respond. And one thing to add to that, most of the responses I get is, we're not interested at this time, but we'll keep you in mind for future reference. So I don't just rely on it, but they'll remember me when they need cleaning services. I put them in a spreadsheet. I reached out to them on this day. They said they'll keep me in mind. I'll follow up with them within about 2 to 3 months. Just checking in, making sure everything was okay. So make sure you follow up. Even if they tell you we don't need you at this time, make sure you definitely follow up.
And now you following up with another email or you following up with a phone call or how you doing that?
Most time with another email.
Cool, cool. Okay, so spreadsheets, and that's a good point too. So you want to be concise.
Top of mind. Oh, you're talking about the email
Yeah,
now.
the
Yeah,
email,
go ahead.
concise, clear, and you want to get straight to the point and stay in that primary folder, not go to the
Right.
spam. So that's a good point right there, man. So okay, so I want to ask you this too. On an average, what is the cycle on something like this? Because I know that's a broad question.
No,
Sometimes you can
actually,
get
I
them.
know what you're saying. I
Yeah,
got an answer. You mean in response rate?
yeah, that right there, number one, and then two, when it comes down to you sent out an email on this particular date. Okay, it's taken 2 to 3 months, maybe 4 months for me to get something after I sent that first email. Kind of what's your average time span for like, okay, if I send this email out or I send out a round of emails, I know 2, 3 months from now, we're going to have a client. How does that go?
Right. Well, one thing that I've figured out for every one, most of the people do not respond. And that usually means most likely they got the message. Most likely they got the message. That usually means they're not interested. They don't need cleaning services. So our conversion rate is about 100 email. We have to send out about 100 emails before we even get a response. So volume is very important. I know that I'm gonna have to send out a bunch before I even get somebody to respond. I didn't even say come out for a walkthrough. Even respond and say, "Hey, we not interested at this time." Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's good. Okay, so you send out a volume,
Right,
and
about
and that's
100 to 1 is what I would say.
good, good. And I tell everybody else all the time, like it's just the numbers. Got to get the reps in, just numbers. Do it, keep going, and then you end up getting something. So one thing I wanted to ask you too, bro, when you get this particular building, what's your strategy for getting people to clean, getting team members on board to take care of these offices? Because I know in the beginning, when we get a building, we started it, we going to go clean it. Nowadays,
Right.
we're going to get team members help us clean it. So I want to ask you about that. And then I want to get into your group interview process too. That's very interesting to me. So I'll let you take that.
Right. Okay. Now, notice you said I'm going to say something that goes. I've already shared this in our Facebook group, but most people this goes against all practical wisdom. You said how once we get to the building, that's when we start looking for team members. The problem with that is very likely the best. You ever heard this saying before? When was the best time to buy real estate? Probably 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
When was the best time to start looking for someone to clean your buildings? Probably
Yesterday.
3 to 6 months ago. Or
Right,
yesterday.
right.
The point is, do not wait until you get the building to find the people. Go ahead and have the people ready now. So that's what we do. Every week, I have group interview. We'll get into that. Every week, I have group interviews. The goal is I'm trying to build up a bullpen, a roster of people that I can call on because I know the contracts are coming. They take a while in commercial. Don't get discouraged. They take a while, but they are coming if you stay consistent. I know they're coming. It's just a matter of me finding the right people to do it. So I'm always looking for people, always hiring, even before I get the building. Just like this last building we got, this equipment office. I had already had these people ready about a month before. They had already done their paperwork. I interviewed them 3 times. They were fully vetted. And I told them, I said, look, the next thing that comes down the pipeline, you'll be on board for. You'll be the one we'll offer to first. And then it came. So go ahead and hire the people now. Go ahead and be scouring the people now. And then the benefit of that is you won't fall victim to, we know this term, warm body syndrome. Hell, I need somebody. I don't really feel like doing the cleaning. I got to go ahead and because most of the time, when you get buildings, most of the time when doesn't start. I know it varies, but
most of the times we'll have anywhere from a week to 2 weeks. We getting started. Right. Sometimes it may be they'll tell us, hey, we got to give the last company 30-day notice. So we have that cycle sometimes too, but a lot of times, man, they be ready to go, within the next couple of weeks.
Thank you. Most of the time, unless it's some binding agreement they're in, sometimes, like I say, it'd be 30 days. Most of the time, they ready to get this coming out now. So think about having to rush and hire somebody 1 to 2 weeks, scramble, and find somebody. That's a lot of pressure, and very likely you're going to make a bad decision. But what if you had time to just interview people, be real picky, take your time to see if they got what you're looking for? You definitely are more likely to make a good hiring decision. So the point is, I'm hiring. I'm looking for people I'm talking to people every week, getting them ready for when we get those buildings. I got somebody I can trust that I can put in.
I like that, man. I like that a lot. And I want to go back to something you said, man. I heard Myron Golden say that expectation is your greatest superpower. And you said, I know the building is coming. I love to think like that too, man. Like, I know this building is coming.
Yeah.
Expectation, y'all. So anyway, I'm expecting to get a building. So let me start looking for the people now. I need a team.
Right.
I need them now. And that's something that, man, that group interview strategy, I'm going to tap into that. So I want to go into that too. How do you do this? Where do you go to bring a group of people to sit down and look at each other in the face like, hey, I'm gonna get the job, you get the job. How does this work?
Right. That's a good point. Well, first of all, I'll say why I started implementing it. It used to be I would go to my nearest Starbucks and schedule. I had interviews scheduled. One person come at 12, the next one at 12:30, next one at 1, the next one at 1:30, next one at 2. But you know what would happen? Only one would show up. And maybe that would be towards the end, meaning the last scheduled interview. So I'll be sitting there for 2 hours just waiting, wasting. Nah, I could be on my computer doing something, but it just was like, why can't I just combine all these people, invite them all to the group interview, and then, okay, let me explain how it works. All it is, okay, let's say I'm interviewing you, Darian, and let's say it's two more people. All that happened, let me know if I'm not being clear. I would ask you, hey Darian, so you're interested in this job. What do you think you would contribute to our team if you were hired? You would answer your question. You would answer that question. I document what you said. Then I would ask the next person, okay, Jonathan, you're here for this job also. What do you think are some of your strengths and weaknesses? He would answer. All you're doing is just asking everyone a different question, and they answer, and everybody else is just waiting on their turn. So it's two places I go. I go to Starbucks, and we all just go to a big table, and I just ask them, each person, a different question. And sometimes I do have an office, but it's about an hour from me. The Starbucks is closer. So most times I just go to the nearest Starbucks. We go to the biggest table, depending on how many people show up. And I just ask them individual questions. And that saves me so much time. Yeah, if you want to ask more questions about that, let me
Yeah,
know.
no, that's great. That's great. I like that a lot. And I'm taking notes myself too, man, because yeah, I don't know why it seems like this big, crazy theory, but I mean, it's as simple as having conversations with
Right.
just a round table conversation with these
Right.
people.
Now I
And
will say, I mean, interrupt you. It was a little awkward at first. One time, let me tell you what happened. About 15 people showed up, and I had to be the person moderating, asking 15 people questions. And of course, it took a long time for it to come back around to people. They would have to wait a long time. But it's just the way it has to be done. I'll take a little uncomfortability for a few minutes to save myself some time.
I love it.
So it
I love
is
it, man.
kind of awkward, but once you get used to it, no big deal.
It's getting the reps in, man. Getting the reps
Right.
in. Okay, where do you find these people? How are you getting this big pool of people? Do you ever ask yourself, am I making enough money on this building? What's my tax strategy? What's the best tax strategy for me? Or just have basic tax questions? Well, now you can stop guessing and start growing with focused bookkeeping and tax solutions. My personal mentor, this guy has been in the business for over 10 years, sold his company and went back to doing the books for commercial cleaning companies like mine and yours. So click that link in the description for a consultation with Scott. This is brought to you by focusedonyourbooks.com.
Good question. I only use Indeed. No. I use Indeed, and I also post on my local colleges. I post on their website. So, what do most? Okay, I ask you, what do you do? You post on Indeed,
Right.
okay, and you get pretty good amount of candidates.
Absolutely. Sometimes it
Okay,
be overwhelming.
right. So, how do you determine who to invite to an interview? I'm going to make a point.
Great point. I'm looking at, did they put effort into this resume? Did they put
So,
did they reach out to me?
hmm,
Those people I go to as well, or I make the phone call to as well. But for the most part, did they put any effort into their resume? I'm looking for maybe a little bit of cleaning experience.
okay.
I'm looking for longevity in job history. And if you got some huge gaps in there, which here's the thing, my wife, stay at home mom, she ain't had no work history in a long time. So those are understandable, but I'm looking for some work history. I'm looking for like, can you commit? And so anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Right, it did, it did. So you look at their resume, like I said, you're looking for those things. I'm gonna say this goes against all practical wisdom, but here's what I do. I used to look at their resume. I used to examine and analyze what their work history. Do they have any cleaning experience? Did they put any effort into their resume? I would also look them up on Facebook. What kind of image they got on Facebook? Um, what do they share and how do they
Yeah,
dress? The problem with that is that takes a lot of time sifting through all these resumes. It takes a lot of energy and effort. And another con of that is, are we looking for somebody that has a good resume? If they have a bad resume, I would say the most important thing is, can they clean well? Will they show up and do the job? So I no longer sift through resume. If they apply, I immediately invite them to the group interview. I just invite them. And guess what? Me talking to them, first of all, they got to show up. And if they do show up, me talking to them, I'm going to find out all I need to know anyway. I'm going to see some habits, see some characteristics in that person. I've seen people come in and the first 5 minutes talking to them, I invited them to the group interview. I knew whether this person was a fit or not. So I don't no longer sift through all the resumes. I just invite them to the group interview. And if I like them, I move on to the ones that I like. The ones that I don't, and that's what I tell them at the end of the group interview. If I reach out to you, that means we schedule the next step. If you don't hear from me, that means we decide not to move forward with you. So the point I'm making is, I would say, don't sift through the resume. I would say just invite them to the group interview and go from there and determining whether they're a good fit.
I love it. I love it. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely
Because
right.
one more thing, here's another good point. Now, if we were hiring for brain surgeons, that's different. It's got to be experience, got to have certification. We got to prove that you know how to dissect or what, not dissect the brain, but
Right, right,
cut open
right.
the brain and remove. But this is cleaning. This is not, if you got the right mindset, you know this too.
Yes,
It's really
sir.
about mindset. It's not really about skill. Actually, the resume is not as important, I believe, as we think it is. It's just a matter of mindset. And so I'm making that point to say that's why I invite whoever applies.
Man, that was great. That's why I love these mastermind calls, because that definitely just shifted something in my mind to think, okay, you're right. When I have the conversation with the person, that's where I get to see, okay, is this a fit or not? So great, great
Right.
points right there, man. If y'all getting any value out of this, that was some gems that were just dropped. Make sure you hit that like button for my guy, Mike Wilkins, on here, man. So let's go into this next part, right? When you figure out, okay, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and go with these people. I got this person, that person. What's your onboarding strategies? When you bringing them on the squad, what are we doing next?
All right, that's a good question. So I do something now, but I think I'm going to change it. I used to, I interviewed them 3 times. And then if I liked them, I would hire them. So we'll prep all the paperwork for them to fill out, the W-9, W-4, my agreements and all that. And this happened to me last month, actually. I shared this in the group. We hired this young lady. gave her all the paperwork and stuff, and she didn't last but a week. And do you know what the problem with her was? She didn't tell me this, but I know what one problem was. She was a slow cleaner. Slow. I'm talking about. It was one building we were working on. I cleaned this building so many times. I know how long it should take.
Mm-hmm.
And the bathroom, I would be done in that bathroom in 5 to 10 minutes. It took her 30 minutes. Each bathroom small now. Trust me, I cleaned this building. It's a small bathroom because she was so particular. Wipe so slow. Clean the toilet very slow. It became a problem. Now she just quit. She didn't tell me why she quit, but I'm saying that's why. She probably felt like she wasn't being compensated for the time she was spending. But that wasn't my fault. That was hers. So the question is, wait a minute, I got sidetracked. Oh, it was about I sent her all that paperwork and stuff.
Right.
What I should have done, what I'm gonna start doing now, give the person a trial run. And before I send them any paperwork, if we hire them and we gotta bill them for them to clean, what I think I'm gonna do is give them 2 or 3 days to see, let's see how they do it, how well they do it, how well can they adjust to cleaning. You know, they may say they want a cleaning job, and once they get up in here, may not be as easy as they thought. So that's something that I'm changing. It's no longer just sending the paperwork and give them a trial run. And then if they pass that, hey, you're officially hired. But have you ever had somebody that was slow?
You know what?
Slow as a turtle.
I would say not necessarily, not that type of experience. Okay. I haven't had that exact experience. Nah.
Okay. Well, when she was slow and vacuuming, it used to take me, it's a building we cleaned that I was trying to give to her. It don't get that dirty. So you don't have to just straight up vacuum, spot vacuum.
Right.
It probably took me 10 minutes max to vacuum this building because it don't get a lot of traffic. It took her literally almost an hour.
Wow.
To vacuum. I didn't think it was a problem. Well, at least she's taking her time. No, it was a problem because she probably felt I ain't getting paid. She probably making $1 an hour with how slow she is.
Wow. So okay, so it worked out to where she ended up just resigning herself. You didn't necessarily have to. I don't
think it's a good fit for me. Right.
Got you. Okay. Well, hey, sometimes that's the best way for it to be.
Right. Exactly.
And then you end up, you got somebody already ready, and you got them in there.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, so they're going smooth right now.
Yeah, they're going smooth. And this was somebody that I had ready. I had already ready, even though I didn't quote unquote need them at the time. I had already interviewed them. I had already felt that they were a good fit.
Right.
So the bullpen saved me from having to do it myself.
Man, that's amazing. Awesome. So I want to move to this next part right here real quick, man. Say, for instance, going back to, having to clean something yourself, when you have somebody call out or requests a day off and things like that, what's the process? What's the procedure? What are you doing? Who do you have in place for that? Are you going and cleaning it? You got a team member or manager automatically hopping in there, plugging and play? How's that go?
That's a good question. So I said this in the past that we only do 3 to 5 day a week buildings. So that means we already have more than one person in the building anyway. So if one person calls out, the other person will just have to step in, and they'll get, of course, that whatever that person that requested out, they would get their pay for that day, however long they're gone. So that's not a problem. The problem now is come in. I told you we just started accepting 1 day a week accounts. So now it's no other person in the building with that person. So what I do now, if they call out, here's what I do to make sure I say it right. Okay, you got some 1 day a week accounts.
Right.
What do you tell the person that cleans it? You tell them they can clean it any day? How do you handle that?
No, you would have to clean it on that particular day that they're requesting. So some of those we have it where this building is supposed to be cleaned on a Thursday, or this one's on a Friday. Like for instance, like the churches that we have, this particular church I got, like in fact, Arkansas accounts that we got. There's a U.S. Army Corps of Engineer office that needs to be cleaned at um, around 8 a.m., anywhere from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Tuesday morning. So you have that
Okay.
window. That's kind of how that goes.
Okay. Well, that's a little bit more difficult if the person calls out. So the one we got 2 1 day a week accounts now. The ones that we have, they can be cleaned any day, anytime, as long as it's clean before the upcoming week comes up. So
Got it.
what I did is I have to clean the people that I got in those 1 day a week accounts. They have to clean it by Wednesday. So if they call out or they can't make it, we got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to find a replacement. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. The day that they're scheduled to clean, it is Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. If anything happens and they can't clean it for the end, they get sick, we can come up with somebody to clean it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Because I got people that's always looking for more hours. Yeah. So
Right.
that's not a problem. Now they
Right.
haven't called out yet. Like I said, we only had these accounts about a month now. But if they do, it's no problem because we got the rest of the week to figure it out.
Okay. So quality control, right? You got somebody in there cleaning it. You want to make sure they're doing a good job. Are you, training or inspecting for the first couple of weeks? Or who does the inspections? How often do you do inspections? And then when it comes down to supplies and rags, we talked about this in the group too as well. I still do a lot of that. I got my hands on when it comes down to the supplies and stuff like that. And then inspections, man, is very, very important. Who does that in your organization, and how do you do that?
Okay, that's a good point. So we do have an inspector that inspect. Here's our schedule: 5 day a week buildings. They inspect that once a week. Obviously, because the frequency of it, we have to make sure that's building is being cleaned pretty good. 5 day a week, 3 day a week buildings we inspect once a month. That's we can't devote too much time to inspecting. So we only for a 3 day a week account. So we only do that once a month. And a 1 day a week account, we inspect twice a quarter. So that's about 8 times a year. Since it's 1 day a week, we obviously all of our attention cannot be on that building. So we have an inspector that goes in and we have a form that he fills out. How well would you rate the dusting? How well would you rate the bathroom? Any notes, any adjustments that are needed? Then he'll give them a score 1 out of 5, make any notes, and then turn it in to me and I get it. Also, the cleaners get a copy of it also. So the good part about that is that keeps the cleaners honest. Now, if they're a good cleaner, if they care about doing a good job, they're going to do a good job, whether they're being watched or not. But just that extra pressure, it keeps them on. When they can, and then not just you telling them, you're getting inspected once a week. No, you see this form come to your email. We send it to them at least 2 to 3 times a month. Yeah. We don't send all of it to them, but even just 2 to 3 times a month is showing them, okay, I'm being watched. Not watched, but
I
I'm
mean, that's
being
what it
checked.
is.
Right,
Hey, that works
right.
out, and that's all good. So you hired an outside person. Who is this inspector? How does that work? Because I do my own inspection still to this day. I may have somebody help me out. My wife, every now and then, she'll go inspect. How does that work? What's the company? Who is this guy?
Right. I hired them as an independent contract. So I posted it on Indeed. I made it clear that this is a 2 to 3 hours a week job, just part-time supplemental income. And I was able to find someone that was willing to do it because it's easy. Only thing that The problem with it is if you don't have enough buildings, it won't be enough for the person. But we got just enough. We actually need a few more to make it a little bit more appealing. But you can easily find someone for this job. It ain't even part time. That's how low the commitment is. And it's just a decent chunk of money that the right person, I guess, and I'm gonna touch on that a little bit. The right person would be fine with doing. Yeah, so I was able to find an independent contractor that able to handle that.
Man, you get my wheels turning, man.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that's the thing. I I would say when I go out and inspect, I see something every single time, and I'm just shooting a text message. I'm snapping photos, and that's how I'm doing it. Pretty much all the time. I feel like stepping back and doing something like that, allowing somebody else's eye to go in there. Now they got to have an eye for detail, in my opinion. How do you rate that or judge that? Did you go out with him first and show him like this is what we're looking for? But I guess the form makes it clear enough too. Because that's what I would have to do. I started doing my operating or standard operating procedure documents for a lot of my buildings. Like this is what they look for. Like, and then some of them, what I'll say, this particular lady, she likes to look for this, so you got to be very detailed on it. And I think I would have to have notes like that for that inspector to go in there and look for these specific things. Make sure, like you say, dusting being done correctly and everything like that. So great points right there, man. That is good. How long have you been doing this? And how effective has this been for you?
Probably for the last 6 months. It's been very effective because it freed me up for time to do other things. And that's on our list too that we'll touch on. Sometimes when your nose is so in the business, when your face is so buried in the business, you can't, as they say, see the forest for the trees. Sometimes you can be so deep in something. For example, your marriage. This not your marriage, but a marriage.
No, go ahead. Yeah, bro, go ahead. Hey, by the way, y'all, Mike and I found out that we have been married for the same amount of time. First of all, we got the same exact wedding anniversary. Let me not say this wrong. December 30th, 2017.
Correct.
Right? Same for you, right?
Right.
Happy belated 7 years, my brother. Anyway, go ahead and go into that. Yeah.
Okay. You and your wife may be married. Maybe you think it's going well. Maybe it is. But it could be that somebody else that loves you and is close to you, because they're not so deep in it as you are, could be that they see some things. That's kind of concerning. You do this and she do that. You don't do this and she's fine with it. I'm making that point toward the business. Sometimes we're so involved with the daily operation, stuff that we probably need to delegate, that we can't fully see problems, things that need improving. So that's why I decided to step back a little bit.
I love it, bro. I love it. So what else are you delegating when it comes down to the racks, supplies? Then we talked about this in the group a little bit as well. And I'm letting y'all know, like, hey, bro, I do this, I do that. Hey, and that's, you know what? I think it's one of those situations where it's so indoctrinated in me to be like this. And I would say I'm super detail oriented. So I would call myself a micromanager for real. Like I actually am that guy. And now I'm stepping back more. There's certain people who I know, like, okay, I know this building is good. I don't have to check this one. I don't got to go over there for about a week. Okay, I done hit this one. I ain't got to go over there for about 3-4 days. So I'm getting to the point now where I can kind of relax a little bit. But for the most part, I'm still really hands-on, and I'm in that process of putting people in place, like you're saying, this is great for me because that inspector thing, I got somebody in mind who I think would be great for this. But going down to, your rags, supplies, chemicals, how are you making sure that is staying up to par?
Okay, that's a good question. So the rags, let's start with that.
Yes, sir.
The rags, I would say, give that to someone else tonight, today, when we get off this call. That's definitely something you as the owner don't have to. Not that are you above cleaning rags? No, nothing like that. But that's just something that you definitely shouldn't have to do. And I remember you saying it was another guy that said it a little bit more
I
profound.
think LaDavid
Right, about
and the group.
messing up the rag. And I
Shout
actually,
out to him. And
right.
okay, go into that too. What did he say about that?
He said how if you don't wash them correctly, you could damage them. They'll lose their elasticity. They won't be as stick.
Like
That you
they won't
wiping
cling to
something.
the dust
Right,
as
clean,
good.
clean.
Okay,
That's a
got
better
you.
word. That's true. That is so true. I didn't even know that actually until he said and you did too, and I researched. Wow. But if you're supposed to wash it in delicate water, delicate washing powder. I let my cleaners do it, and they do it with no problem at all. They have no problem cleaning the rag. I thought when I asked them that they were going to, dang, I don't want to clean the rag. They said they're fine doing it. They're fine. They don't mind cleaning the rags. So the point I'm making is there should be no reason we should be cleaning the rags. Right down there, pick the rags up. What do you wash? Do you wash yours at?
Yeah, I'm having conversations about that tonight, man. A lot of times, for instance, I got mop heads and things like that I'll wash at a laundromat,
Okay.
and then a lot of times I get fresh ones. But every
Okay.
now and then, if the rags aren't super soiled, I'll go ahead and put them in the washer.
Okay.
And it just kind of depends. I'm very particular about it. But for the most part, I think that'll be a good thing.
Right.
To
Definitely
look
delegate
into.
that.
Yeah, for sure. Great
And
point.
I remember what I was going to say. It came back to me. I know, like I said, we may say, damn, clean the rags. They may mess them up. If we trust them with some keys inside a building with delicate information, if we trust them to do that, we don't trust them with rags. That doesn't make any sense. And then if they do mess the rags up, rags, do you know how cheap that is? We don't want to buy any new ones, but that's nothing overly risky. I mean, you
Right.
can get some $30 or something like that. Yeah, but my point is they very likely won't mess them up. If they do a good job cleaning, I would hope, and mine have never messed my rags, my cleaners that wash them. I would assume rightly that they can wash the rags correctly without damaging them if they cleaning the building and doing a good job.
Good. Okay, that's good. That's something that I'm implementing for sure tonight.
Right.
I'm
And
gonna
what you
get up.
can do is maybe give them, like I say, a $10, $15 bonus to cover that.
Got it.
It definitely do not overpay. It's
Got
not,
it.
it don't take that kind of work.
See, and I got a couple of people who already do it. And then, like I got a person who was, he was already doing his own thing or whatever. So he brings out his own stuff. And there's
Okay.
probably, I would say, well, there's quite a few of them that I still take care of the rags, but I'm gonna implement that, man. Now then going down to products. Who's
Okay.
doing that?
That's a good question. Oh, I was going to say about the rags. If they say I ain't doing that, now that would be I would be a little concerned about that.
Mm.
I'm not, like I say, they have the right to say that, but you can't take 15. How often your rags have to be washed?
I would say we probably
No.
do that. I probably refresh the rags maybe once a week. Maybe
Okay.
every
Once.
maybe I don't know every once a week or twice a week. I mean twice a month. It's either once a week or bi-weekly, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I'm doing a big rag refresh.
Okay. The thing I was saying, if they were to say no to that, that would be a little concerning. Wow, this low time commitment, and you can't do that. that would make me wonder about that person. So I don't think it should be a problem. So when it comes to the supplies, I've been fortunate. All my clients provide us with the supplies. Yeah, we've never had only one account that we used to have. We don't have it anymore. Well, we had to provide supply. So once again, I let the cleaners handle that. When something gets low, what they do, the office manager has a notebook on her desk. We just write. I don't go down there and see what's needed. I let them write in the notebook what is needed so the office manager can order it. Now, maybe when I had to provide my own supply, I'm gonna have to do something a little different, but that's still delegate. I'm not going down there seeing what's needed. They are seeing it and they're writing it down in the notebook.
Got it. So I have a building like that in Arkansas, powered. Well, I got a building like that in Arkansas that is they same thing. They'll have, paper. We're talking about paper products, right? Like paper towels,
Right.
tissue, soap,
or even the chemicals too.
Chemicals as well. So they purchase their own chemicals too.
Right. For some reason,
cool.
It's some about Mississippi. It's been like that it's very few accounts. It's some about, I don't know if it's the area, but they like to provide their own supply, probably because they think it's cheaper. They may think I'll add an extra fee on it. Yeah. Maybe it's something that they've been used to, the point I'm making.
Right. And that's a good point. And so, okay, so for instance, there's only a couple of buildings out here where we have to do that. In Florida, I'm saying. And all the other ones, pretty much my team, they'll send me a message, hey, we need this, and that. And I'll draft the email up and reach out to the office manager, have them purchase new products. But when it comes down to, the floor cleaner, all my glass cleaner, my all purpose, I'm doing that as well. Only time that I wasn't able to do that, and I would just order on Amazon, get it shipped straight to the building, was when I first moved down here to Florida and I had, things going to Arkansas. So I think I just got so accustomed to going and doing the refills myself, keeping my eye on. I like to keep a strong pulse. And I think you opened up my mind to see that I don't necessarily have to do that. Because here's the thing. I love when I go into a building and I'm like, man, I could have stayed at home. You know what I'm saying? I love those opportunities. And I think this is good, man. And I know this is helping a lot of people out there. So okay. So when it comes to those other things, you have your cleaners purchase all those chemicals and things like that as well? Or you said that the people do that, right. The actual office.
Right. They just are sure to write it in the book, in the notebook of the office manager.
Got it. Do you use communication logs? That's what I like to use in the closet, or we'll leave it in the office manager's office or break room, where we got a communication log where basically if they have any concerns or questions, things we need to do, they'll write it in there, and then my team, they'll check it daily and go take care of whatever the issue was. Y'all got that too?
Exactly.
Good.
And I'm trying to think you were going here, or you may not have been. It's time for us to eliminate all this texting and stuff. It can kind of bog you down. Sometimes you communicating too much with either the client, but mainly probably the cleaners. It's just a little too much communicate. You need to find you and all of us is what I'm saying. Find a way to streamline things. I didn't say cut the texting out completely, but not as much back and forth texting. Yes, this. Try to streamline things.
Mm-hmm. Got you. What would you recommend, or what's some of the things that you do to do more streamlined and keep from so much back and forth on day to day?
Well, here's obvious. You probably already got this implemented. I used to have this when I was just starting. Have the cleaners text me when they make it. I'm here. I'm leaving. And when they're done, I'm leaving. And it just became, man, this is annoying. Or sometimes they wouldn't let me know they were there. Are they there? I'm wondering. Or I may be calling them. They ain't answering. Lord, the building ain't gonna get clean tonight. Now, what I have them do every time they come in, they take a picture of a QR code, and that's how they sign in. When they're done, they take a picture of the QR code. That's how they sign out. So that's one. That's basic. That's the best. I'm sure
Awesome.
most people may not be doing it, but maybe wait a minute. Maybe you're not making sure your people are there. Maybe you're just trusting their word. So maybe this is helpful. Just put a QR code in the building and have them when they sign in. When they get there, sign in. When they leave, sign out. And that's how you know they're there.
I like this. I like this. So yeah, I got that already kind of delegated where we don't have to think about that. We use
Right.
Jobber, you know,
Okay.
they get to the building, they hit that button, that lets me know that they're
That's
there,
good.
and then pretty much do the same thing when they leave. But when it comes down
Right.
to this QR code thing, I've never heard of that. How do you generate the QR code? What do you where you leave it in the closet for them? How does this work?
Right, right. I use job form for most. Actually, I use job form for my inspections. I use it for my QR code. I use it for my cleaning checklist. So I generated it through job form, which
And that's
to a
JOT JOT
right, FORE.
FORM. Okay, got it.
Now, to a certain extent, it's free. Once you get over a certain amount of forms, you have to pay. But it streamlines operations. For example, the inspector, he don't have to text me that he's there. He don't have to text me, these are the issues I see with this bill. He just puts it on the form. When he submits it, it comes to me. I can look at it. I can, if I need to reach out to somebody, obviously I would do that. But just streamlining the operation. Obviously, there's Slack. I hadn't got to Slack and Swift yet. Look, let me build up a little bit more money first. But that's next, where we're communicating only through an app. Just trying to streamline things for mental purposes.
I like it. I like it, man. Yeah, I haven't done Slack either. For the most part, man, I do a lot of just hit me on a text message, or we can also communicate through the app. Jobber has that as well. But for the most part, and then even Homebase is another app that you can use for that too.
Okay.
But when it comes down to your just the work life balance, that's probably giving you more of a, I guess, just like you said, peace of mind when you streamline things like that. So let's go into that a little bit, man. You know, you've been married 7 years, right? Like me, you got a young baby at the house. You're a business owner. How do you manage your time? What does your days look like?
Right. My days are pretty busy all day. Look, I don't sleep as much as I used to before the baby came. So most of the time I'm with my daughter up until noon. Noon is when I usually go out and do some prospecting. I may go to the office, do some interviews. Then usually about evening time, 5 or 6, I'm back home with my daughter, spending time with her. My wife usually is working at that time. So I had to get help. I mean, I couldn't continue to do everything on my own. So that's one reason that I outsourced the rags, I outsourced the inspections so that I can be with my daughter. I can have time for my wife, helping her with the baby. Another thing, I say things that go against all practical wisdom,
That's good, my brother.
but
That's
right
good.
now, listen to this. Sometimes when people say stuff, you may immediately reject. Oh, that don't make sense. But just think about it for a second. You may be like, that may be a good idea. It used to be, maybe you do. Okay, let's say your cleaning technician texts you 7:30 at night. We ain't got no more floor cleaner. We ain't got no more. You get those texts sometimes.
Absolutely. Last night. Mm-hmm.
Okay. One thing that we got, oh Lord, don't let them call. I don't like them call. Text is better, but please don't call. One thing that we gotta teach them, if you get the right people, this will eliminate that, but you still got to teach them. They need to be self-sufficient. They need to learn to think on their own. They need to learn, for example, we ain't got no more floor cleaner. What you want? I ain't trying to be rude. What you want me to do about it? You have to build. Either you, first of all, it probably was your fault that you let it run low. Second of all, go get some. Teach them not to be so reliant on you. What if we as the business owner are sick? What if we die? Well, I guess the business will be over with then. But the point is, what if we're not in a position to respond? Well, they'll have to figure it out on their own anyway. So one thing that I started doing, when I get those messages, I don't respond until the next day. I'll respond at a certain time, is what I'm trying to say. If it's past a certain time, past 7:30, 8, or even 5:30, and I'm like, it's something you can figure out on your own, I don't respond. And that's one thing that I've started to tell them. I don't mind you asking me questions, my cleaners, but I hired you obviously for this job to do the job. I hired you because I thought you could, if any issues come up, you could, for the most part, figure it out. So we need to teach our cleaners to be more self-sufficient, a little less reliant on us.
I love
and
this.
Most of the time, let's say they text us, I'm locked out of the building. Well, I guess we could go. I guess we could drive down there and let them in, but it's like, yes, we can get too dragged in the weeds is the point I'm trying to make. They text you, this how, that how, we got a complaint. Stuff that maybe you can deal, I'm not saying ignore, but maybe you need to deal with another time or the next day. Some things can wait is the point I'm making.
Right. So what you're saying is you have a certain window. From this time to this time is when I'm communicating with them. So one thing that I do, I started implementing when we first started hiring, is I do a weekly check-in, because some of them I don't have to talk to for that whole week. And if I let it, I wouldn't speak to them until, we need something or whatever. So one thing I started doing was I implemented a weekly check-in on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, used to, I would call everybody. I would spend 10, 15 minutes on the phone with them. That started getting time consuming. And then it was one of them situations where some of them, they want to just talk for a long time. And so anyway, what I started doing is I'm going to just do a weekly check-in, text, we texting. Just, hey, how you doing? Just checking in, see how everything's going. Everything's smooth. You heard anything? Do you need anything? That's one thing that I've started doing. So this makes a lot of sense. And I know, like, you got an office. Are you meeting up at the office with your team and, hey guys, we doing this, doing that. This is what happened. How does that work for you?
Right. We also do a weekly check-in. I do it through phone every week with each person, each building, each team at the building, about 5 minutes, just going over anything that we need to handle, anything that may need clarification, some issue with the client. So that's a great idea. Weekly check-in, because as you just said, if you're not careful, you'll never talk to these people. They'll never see you. They'll never hear your voice. And that could be bad culture-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great idea. Yeah, we do meet at the office periodically, just getting together. Yeah, food, music. Yeah, just building that culture. Yeah, but I do hold also weekly meetings.
Good. Yeah, and every now and then I'll drop in too. I have a drop in. Hey, how you doing? Check in, make sure they're good, and just kind of see what's going on too, and how they're showing up as well. So this office thing, I want to pull this thread real quick. You got an office. Tell me about that. I've always used my home office for the most part, and if we got a space, a public space like a Panera Bread, that's where I like to go and meet up. But when it comes down to your office, what made you do that, and kind of what's the details on your office?
Good question. So some of you know this. On your Google My Business page, you can, like I said, you have a service area. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you have an office that you can put on your Google My Business, now you're actually pinned on the map. Look it up when you look it up, just if you don't believe me.
This is good.
You actually rank better when you have a pin on the map. Service area is fine. As long as you can optimize that profile, that Google My Business profile, it'll get you some, you'll be fine. But you would do even better SEO wise if you had an office. And obviously, Google, oh man, people were putting their home address, years ago, and they were getting away with it. Now that has stopped. You do that now, they're suspending you. You have to have an act. You have to prove it through a video. So that motivated me to get an office. Now, thankfully, it's not that expensive. It's just a suite. It's a suite, my own suite. It has a conference room. It has a break room. So whenever me and my team want to get together, we have a big space to be able to do so. But the main motivation was SEO purposes. So I would say, whoever's listening up, and even you, Darian, if you could find a cheap office that isn't that high, and you don't even got to go to, I don't even go to mine that much, honestly. It's great for SEO purposes because you're going to show up better because you have an actual pin on the map, on the Google map.
Right.
Yeah. So I would say it's a good investment.
This is a gem. I hope y'all stay to the end of this, or to this part at least, and then log off to get this part right here.
It's a big gem.
There is 1,000 cleaning companies in your area, wherever you are. It don't matter, especially a city like mine, where I'm in Jacksonville. There's 1,000, more than 1,000 cleaning services in this area. But something like that, as simple as having a space to pin your Google to, that is great. I'm gonna look into that for sure, man. Now and then too, like you and I had to wait for my children to get out of homeschool so my wife can take them out somewhere, so we can get on this call and have the house quiet, right?
Right.
I can go and do my videos or do my calls at the space. That is great. I'm thinking about that now.
Yes. Because
go ahead. Well, I was going to say, I've always just done it like this. My parents back in the day, long time ago, as many people may know, like my stepfather, he started with Jan Pro. My mom and him did that for a while, and he ended up getting a small office space like that as well, for a little bit of time. But I didn't see the use for it because they didn't really use it that much, like you were just saying.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, I'm the guy that's resourceful, right?
Right.
But hearing you say that definitely opens up my mind to maybe that would be a good idea. Let me ask you this. Don't lose your thought that you were going to say, but let me ask you this. How would this work for if somebody has a UPS box, or they got a one of those over the internet type of
oh, you see me shaking my head.
Mm-hmm.
So you can look this up. People used to be able to get away with that. A virtual office, a UPS PO box. No, it no longer will get you approved. You will not. It will not. It has to be an actual office that you prove is your office. They're gonna ask you to do a video. You're gonna have to prove this is my office. This belongs to me. Any kind of PO box, any kind of virtual office, it no longer will work. So you have to find a real office.
This is good, man. This is good.
Now, the good part is, like you said, maybe it could be, even if you don't go that often, it's good for SEO purposes. But even when I go to mine, I can get more done. I feel more clarity. I can think a little better rather than at the house. So it is valuable.
And then it's something too, bro, about having a space, putting on something, going somewhere, because a lot of us know a lot of the work that we do, if we're doing any administrative work or something like that, and we got, run our own business, we're not really getting dressed up for it. We only getting dressed up when we're going to prospect, but but being able to put something on and being able to go to an actual space, it does something to your psyche, right? It just feels like, okay, I'm in work mode. I'm being productive. I like that a lot, man. I think that's
And
my next phase, man.
also hold that thought. Look, I just got an email back I sent it to this, what facility is this? This is, I think, a medical clinic. The man I emailed him about cleaning services, and he emailed me back, thank you. I've sent your request over to be reviewed. So he's I guess he's not the director, but he sent it over to the director. I'm not saying that means walk through, but that's a pretty good sign.
I love this.
Yeah,
I love this.
email.
Okay.
So look, just as soon as we was on this call.
Just like that. Okay, this is perfect. Can you click on that? Tell me, if you don't mind, what was the email you sent out to him without saying any names, or any addresses? What was your, I guess, what was your opening statement? What's your title and your body on there?
Right. Okay, it says, hello, person's name, Michael Wilkins with Wilkins Refresh Cleaning Service here. Hope you're well today. We are a cleaning company that services your area, and we will see whether you all at the name of the facility needed any assistance in keeping your facility clean. If so, feel free to let us know so that we can discuss further how we can help you. As regards, Michael Wilkins, Wilkins Refresh Cleaning Service. So
boom,
simple.
Just like that.
Right. And remember, I told you earlier, this ended up being a bad walkthrough. I got another one earlier, or it may have been late last week. I sent that same email, and a woman invited me out, but it ended up being a bad lead. But anyway, the simplicity is the point we make. It works. You heard, so y'all can copy that if you want, word for word.
Man, I hope y'all stay tapped in. My goodness, this is great, bro. This is great. This is golden right here. I think this has been awesome. I know for a fact that you can watch this 2 or 3 times back, and you'll be able to get all these golden nuggets and be able to set your organization up how you want it to be. And I will say, from all of this here, right? You have been, I guess you've been in business now for how long now, bro?
Going on 2 years.
There we go. And y'all, and your background is in what again?
Teaching.
For those who don't know, this guy is a mastermind, right? He's a teacher. You went to college. You got a degree.
Right. I went to college, got a degree. Yeah.
Look at that, and you just had this natural knack for business, and that's why I always appreciate talking to you and doing these mastermind conversations, because I know I'm not only getting help. I mean, I'm getting help, but not only just me. I know that this is helping the audience out there too, because I've been told on calls, bro, like, hey, that dude is great. I'll tell you, my guy Mike Wilkins is highly requested. So bro, I really appreciate you for this. Is there anything you wanted to share specifically that I didn't ask you? There's any topics you wanted to go into? And then, first of all, how can we find you? And then if they wanted to tap in with you and ask you more questions on a one-on-one level and all that good stuff.
Right. Well, I thank you for that. Definitely, I'll send you the link to our Facebook group if anybody definitely want to join it. We share a lot of good information in there. So I think you've got this part recorded about you may not have recorded it. We neglect the importance of a community. We think we can do it alone. I figured I go to YouTube is great, but when you add a community of like-minded people, it makes it even better, makes you more sharp-minded. Yeah, so feel free to reach out to me. Instagram, Wilkins Refresh Cleaning Service _ Facebook, Wilkins Refresh Cleaning Service. My email, mike@wilkinsrefreshcleaning.net. So I love helping my fellow cleaning business owners, love networking and assisting each other. And I would say this, closing, some of the things that people say, I don't most of the time it's rooted in fear. So some statements like, oh, I'm not criticizing the people who say about the rags, but I don't trust anyone with my rags, or no one can clean as good as me. I don't need a team. I can do most of the time. If somebody wants to be a solo cleaner, that's fine. But a lot of times it is due to fear of it not working out. Most of our problems, and this is related to that. People think most of our problems are rooted in money. We just don't have enough money. If I had the money, I would do this. Most of our problems are rooted in our mindset. Most time, I promise, because I know, because I'm still ridding myself of bad thoughts, bad ideas. Most of our problems are rooted in mindset, thinking, bad, as they say, stinking thinking.
Mm-hmm.
If we can just continue to, like I say, listen to people like you, listen to like-minded communities where we get encouragement, we could be more successful, more than we even think. So just keep working on your mindset, keep working to transform it,
I
is
love
what
that.
I want to say.
Love that, bro. I got right here. Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. This has been great. I feel like I've gotten sharper today, listening to you. And, I prayed about this before we got on this call, man. I was like, man, I want this to help me as well.
Right.
Because us doing this and bouncing ideas off each other, like we were talking about before, us being head coaches of our team,
Right.
and we got to have a head coaching meeting where other head coaches get together and we put our heads together. Hey, man, what's working for you? What you got going on? You know what I'm saying? And so I think that this has been great, and I know somebody out there is getting help from this. Give this a like, for sure, and make sure y'all tap in with my guy Mike Wilkins. I will put all the links down in the description. You can go check out whatever you heard that may be good for you in this particular interview. But man, my brother, I appreciate you.
Appreciate it. See y'all.
See you on the next one. Thank you for watching it. Peace.